Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel once again. So in today's video I'm going to show you how we can draw cherry blossoms and how we can compose it without any reference photo. So as these flowers like cherry blossom or apple blossoms are come into the group, so perspective of the flower is also important. So I'm going to show you a group of flower having multiple perspective in it or angle of flowers in it. So let's draw a basic guideline. So you can create a tree branch. You can keep it in any direction and start thinking about where you want to keep your flowers and create multiple round shape or half round shape because few flower might be overlapped with each other, and try to make these circles into your tree branch. So I'm creating at least two group of flowers in a single branch, and then you can also create few flower buds and leaves in between. So define your own composition, do not copy mine. You can create your own stuff. You can make it little complex or you can make it little simple. Totally fine, totally up to you how you like to compose it. You can create leaves in between these flowers, or else you can keep leaves at the tip of the branch. So my composition is very simple, and let's learn what are the perspective that we can draw. So first perspective is a normal perspective wherein we are able to see everything inside the flower like center part and stamen. So this particular flower is having normal perspective, so I'm creating 5 petals having little bit wavy pattern around the edges, and then the center part is not that complex, so keeping it very small, and something like this you can do. Now fold is also important, so we need folds around the petals, or else you can keep it simple. Folds means if you have petals like this, you can create a small triangle kind of structure, little bit on the smooth side, and this replicates the fold. You can keep the shade little different as compared to your flower. So something like this we have done in this particular one having normal perspective in it. Now let's learn another perspective and create the flower. So this one is facing towards downside and little bit towards right side. So again I'm trying to find out the center part of the flower, dividing my circles into 4 equal quarters, and then create 2 smaller petals which is more towards inside the circle. Like you can keep these 2 petals towards the center part and 3 petals towards the outside. Now you can see this perspective is totally different, having little bit tilted towards the right side, and for 2 petals we are seeing the back side of the petal. Now the first one is quite open and flower petals are clearly visible. In this one 2 petals are little bit closed and towards the center part. Same ways you can create one more perspective. Again divide your circle into 4 equal quarters to get the center part. Now I'm keeping the center part little bit towards lower side as compared to the exact center, and then I'm creating 2 smaller petals having small folds into it and 3 bigger petals like this. So this one is more tilted towards the upward direction, but the rules are different for both the flowers. And I'm also keeping one small flower bud here. So this one and this one is totally different perspective. So let me show you one more time. So if you want to create a flower which is more tilted towards the right side, you can create a circle, then find the center part, and then create 2 petals towards the center part of the flower and 3 petals towards outside. Now as you can see, this is more like tilted towards the right side. Another process is you can create 5 petals, 2 smaller and 3 bigger. Now assume you want to make it tilted towards the right side, so keep the smaller petal towards the left side, and for the smaller petals folds are important, so add those folds. Now we are done with the 3 flowers having 3 different perspective. Now you can move ahead, you can add more birds in between and leaves also in between if needed. Now likewise you can use the same process and create few more flowers having different perspective in it. Like in this one is facing towards the sky, so I am keeping the two petals smaller and three bigger, and the smaller petal is towards the center part of the flower. So basically we are not able to see the center part, and if you want to keep the center part visible, then you can keep two smaller petals and three bigger petals and having folds into the smaller petal. So basically I'm repeating the same thing, as per my need I'm changing the direction of the flower, and then you can create many other flowers like these that we have created. Now once you're done with the flowers, you can add flower buds and leaves as you are moving towards the downward direction of the branch or tip of the branch. So you can add many other elements as per your need. And then if needed you can add sub branches as well without any flowers and leaves in it. So something like this we have created as a basic guideline. Now let's trace everything with the help of pen. You can use normal ball pen. I'm using needle pen of size 08 mm. So let's quickly trace everything with the help of pen and rub the unwanted pencil marks so that we can see the drawing clearly, and then we are going to do some extra shading and detailing into it to beautify the composition. Now when it comes to the cherry blossom, I think stamen is something very important to add. So let's start creating small dot or an oval kind of structure around the petal. So if the perspective is normal wherein you are able to see everything, you can create these structure dots or an oval shape around the each petal that we have. Now in this particular perspective, this is more little bit on the closed side, so you can keep the stamen only at one side, and likewise depend on your perspective you can add all these stamens, and then connect these dots with the center part of the flower having fine lines in it. So something like this you can do for each and every flower that we have. So let's repeat the same thing what we are doing in these three flower first, but do it as per your flower perspective. Especially in this particular flower I have not created any stamen for the lower petals, so something like this you need to consider. Now repeat the same thing for all the flower and start doing hatching and contouring process around the stems that we have. Hatching means creating parallel lines and contouring means creating lines based on your object shape. So to get some extra shade into the stem area, you can cross hatch or hatch these areas with having multiple lines and cross lines into it. And then we need to repeat the same thing for the folded pattern that we have around the petal area. So we need a different shade for the folded pattern, so that's why you can cross hatch those area a little bit to get some strong shade into those area. Now few petals wherein we are able to see the back side of the petal like these one, so you can do some extra shading or sketching around these two petals wherein we are able to see the back side of the petal, just to differentiate between the front side and the back side of the petal area. Although these things are optional, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Just draw the basic structure for yourself and use any medium to paint it, but something like this you can do. Now when it comes to the leaves also, you can do some extra shading and detailing into the leaves as well. So I am doing cross hatching at one side of the leaf, and you can also do some stippling process. Stippling means adding dots, and density of the dots defines the shade of the area that you have. So more density means more shade you will get, and repeat the same thing for other flower, birds and leaves that you have. Now when it comes to the flower bird, the tip of the bird having more color into it, so I'm adding some extra shading and detailing into the top area or tip of the flower bird. And then you can do some sketching around the bird area, and this is basically you can do when it comes to the drawing of the cherry blossom and composing all these flowers together. I have already created a separate video wherein I am explaining everything in detail about different perspective of cherry blossom. So if you want, you can refer to that video. You can get a link into my description section. Now the additional thing you can do once you are done with the drawing is you can paint these flowers with the help of watercolor. So my sheet is not a watercolor sheet, but still I can do some painting around my flowers and leaves, and this is the easiest way to paint anything. If you are interested only in drawing and then you want to highlight couple of the areas with some different color into it, I think this line and wash technique is very easy to do. So basically I'm using green color to paint leaf area, and then I have used little bit of yellow and green color around the center part of the flower. And then for the flower birds and flowers, you can use light shade of pink or whatever color you want to paint with. So because the structure has already defined, so when it comes to the watercolor, you don't have to be very precise. You can randomly put some color here and there. You can also keep some negative space also, and you can see the flowers clearly because everything has drawn with the help of pen, and we have done shading as well, so no need of extra detailing with the help of watercolor itself. You can keep a little dark shade around couple of the petals and birds area. So based on your need, you can paint these things with very lesser amount of time, and it's very easy and quick way to paint any element. So you can use this line and wash technique for your watercolor painting as well. Keep some dark color, light color, keep some negative space as well, and then you can do some brown color for the stems. And if you want to keep your flower white in color, then you can do some colors around the background. So basically leave the flower area, add some color around the background like this. So I'm adding little bit of blue color around the flower, and I think this much is enough. And I'm hoping this video is helpful for you guys, and thank you so much for watching. See you guys in the next video.